Hello everyone. Hello world. Thank you for coming here to listen to a reading of the melody of the Woodcutter and the King. This story is very close to my heart because I think you all know it is my own story. The story of what appeared to be my own awakening. Now, that happened sometime after World War II, a long time ago, as time goes. And following this experience that is related here, people began to come to visit and to study. And I had nothing written. I had nothing published that they could study. So, out of the demand to have something to read in the evening before the next day's visit, the melody was finally written down, put into print, and was for several years the only written thing that anyone coming here was given to study. And it was the basis for all of our study, because the story related within it was the only thing that I could speak of with absolute authority, because it was my own story, the story I'd lived. Now, the melody has gone through lots of revisions. It's been republished several times. I am now most delighted to have it in the hands of the Seed Center, a group of very, very wonderful people who will perhaps, now that the time is right, help give the melody the wide distribution I feel it's worthy of, because the experience it relates is not an uncommon experience at all. The experience of illumination is common, not uncommon. It happens to all of us in one way or another, though perhaps not recognized. Well, that's beside the point. We're here this morning to read it. And I think there is an advantage in listening to one read his own words, because the written word, while it's impersonal, doesn't always convey everything that the sounded word can. Perhaps the rhythm in the reading will add new meaning to the listening. Perhaps the inflection, or the pauses, or the emphases, all of that can help. I'm sure that you will hear the melody with new depth. I know you will. Now, first of all, it is sort of a mantra. If you had studied Eastern philosophy, you would know what an E-sound mantra is. It is the sound, supposedly, of enlightenment that induces it. But that's a lot of mysterious mumbo-jumbo that isn't important at all. The melody of the woodcutter is a rhythmic and alliterative mantra. And I do know that its message can lift the laden, the world-weary, the one who has been seeking truth. It can lift that one from a distorted sense of the world and a distorted sense of identity into a new universe. It's really this universe, an old new universe of peace and all rightness and childlike joy. Well, as you listen, please listen with a tender touch. And don't worry about understanding everything, because I know this, that the heart hears and understands things that the intellect cannot, will not, and cannot. So listen with your heart. And then watch the way the awareness that is listening begins to grow and expand in the days ahead, because this is absolutely your heritage, your birthright. Okay, are we ready? Prologue. There is a story to tell, but I am the only one here to tell it, and the only one to listen. There is a picture to paint, but I am the only one here with canvas and oil, the only one who will see it. There is a symphony to play, yet there is only one here to draw the bow. This one, the alone one, is the only one here to listen. This is as it should be, however, for it allows the picture to be painted, the symphony sounded, and the story told as it truly is. Then, if there seems an angry word in the telling, my listening will never hear it. If there seems a distorted scene, the seeing I am will understand it. Because one alone is here to listen to the symphony on this page. This one, the only one, understands his melody. The meeting. Atop my holy mountain, I looked up and out. Scepter in hand, I looked round about and beheld a magnificent land, a happy land, a finished land of harmony. Thought I, this land is my kingdom, and I am the king thereof. In it I reign. In it I command, and it's done. In it I decree with absolute authority. And illusion yields itself to me, rendering reports of majesty and harmony, of tender beauty and simplicity. Then I looked down, unseen. At the forest's edge, a woodcutter stood chopping with his axe. Stroke after stroke he fought the forest, and his axe glistened in the sun. "Father, how long must I labor?" I heard him shout. "How long must I contend? How long before I see thee face to face? Before I put aside this axe and take thy scepter in its place? How long before I see your abundance, free to feast forever?" Then the woodman fell to his knees to rest. Clutching the axe, he whispered, "Father, show me what to do. Show me how to stop this struggle and still the fear within. Show me how to quench the come and go, the ebb and flow between serenity and sadness. Show me love again and laughter. Let discord cease, that I may feel peace. Father, there is no worth in me. Show me thyself. Show me thee." Oh, those words of agony I'd heard before. The woodcutter's anguish had been my own song of yore. Yea, this man is my son. I found the prince. Let me greet him. Let me comfort him. Let me quench his thirst and take away his axe. Let me remind him of his dominion and show him the land of his heritage. This is my son in whom I am well pleased. It's my joy to give him the kingdom. From out the brightness of the morning sun I spoke to him. I know thee who thou art. I am the one you asked for. And he knew me as I knew him. Division was discarded. We were one again. Put away your axe, I told him. Rest beneath the tree. Listen to the soft sound that only comes from me. Once I cut wood as you, dear son. My hands were callous too, torn by tribulation and toil, insufficiency and strife. But that was long ago, as time goes, long, long ago. Now I see a universe too beautiful to hurt and much too lovely to labor. Now I see a land filled with love and laughter. Now I see children smiling in the sunshine, laughing in the light, because the kingdom I speak of is a land without hunger, without labor, and without strife. It is a land where no one cries, where fear is merely foolish fantasy, and where the shadow of death is swept aside by the light of understanding. This land is my land. I am the king thereof. In it I reign, and illusion's reign is ended. Now that I have found you, dear heir to my throne, let me show you this kingdom, which is your kingdom too, so you may reign as I. Come, I persuaded. There's no cause to be weary and heavy laden forever. The heaven I speak of is not far away, but close at hand. You merely perceive it not. The way there is a sweet way, without bramble or stumbling block. And there is no devil's army to contend with along the way, nor a single night to dwell in the wilderness. Beloved, for only a little while shall we remember this measured moment that has a phantom felling oaks, knowing nothing of identity. Slowly the woodman lifted himself from the earth, and we walked thenceforth together down a narrow pathway strewn with flowers. We walked arm in arm. At length he asked me, "What do you mean when you say that your story is my story too?" Now, listener, listen to the song I sing and answer. For soon you will sound the same symphony to yourself. even as now I sing this measure to myself alone. The King's story. Once I cut wood with a borrowed axe, and cleared my kindling from leased acres too. For me, just as you, each day was another sachet of battle, another time to contend, another wonder what good or evil would appear before the sunset. And just as you, my woodman, I could not comfort the weary for echoing their agony. Oh, there were brief moments of respite in meditation's frightened fortress, but I could not see the joy that was round about, and the warm tears that love shed too often turned bitter. In those moments of greatest agony, a wise man came from the darkest depths of the forest to tell me things of comfort. He came with an ointment for my blisters, a sharpening stone for my axe, and while he was with me, I put the blade aside to hear him tell of good and evil, of life and death, of the Messiah, mankind, and rest. Yes, we dreamt dreams together in the soft, sweet shade of the oak. But when he left, I lifted the axe again. The borrowed blade had been lighter, much too short a time. Then another wise one came to me, just as he came to you. He taught that the world is an illusion, a dreamer's dream of mortality. You are sleeping, said he, dreaming all the agony. Then, if this is a dream, I answered, awaken me. My children must eat, dream or not. I know no other way to feed them. I can find no easier lot. But he could not awaken me, and I felled another tree. Finally, a third sage came, trying to teach that God is one source of supply. Throw away your axe, said he. Just be. Just be. But my children were hungry when he left too, and I cut another tree. Oh, weary son, so many came with so much to say that I asked, as you did too, Lord, how do I know whom to listen to and whom to follow? Which is the way to go? Which way is the way to walk? First one comes, then another, a third and a fourth and a fifth, arguing among themselves, pointing out their own inaccuracies. Whom must I follow now, Father? Tell me directly. Tell me in my heart so I'll understand. But there was only silence. And in anguish I cried, Father, show me thyself, that I might know myself and who I am. Reveal thyself, such that I may see beyond this mist, this miserable mist, to touch thee. You see, I seek to see the pure principle and perfect law that pervades this atmosphere of consciousness, yet the seeking brings peace only with an ebb and flow like seasons that blow through oaks still standing to be cut. Yea, my son, the countless systems of the sages merely lightened the load a moment. Every cordon of kindling collected cried the need for another, another, and still another. Finally, just as you, this simplest prayer, I cried. It is peace I ask for, Father. Perfection I long to see. Yet, what I ask for must be the self-same one that you are in the action of being me. Could the distortion, the misery, be a sharpening goad hastening the recognition of my honest identity? Oh, holy consciousness, come to me, but more tenderly. Lift the veil that hides thee from me. It is my own veil, a vile veil I have woven myself. Then it was, beloved, then it was. Face to face, my Father appeared to me exactly as I to you. Lo, face to face, the Comforter stood before me, just as I stand before you now. Tell me, the woodman implored. Tell me of that time. I answered the woodman, it was in the morning, in the spring, in the month of planting, with birds a wing, when the newness of everything is but an instant away. I had bent myself down to drink from a pond, and there reflected in the water he was. In my own image and likeness he was, and nowhere could I see the old self at all, or needed to, or wanted to. From out the morning light, the Messiah came to me, softly, quietly, with the tender touch of love. Oh, grand light of truth that shone round about. Splendor beyond words, warmth, wonder, sweet sounds bathed in gossamer beams from an expanded heaven that included me and mine and all things exactly as they are. The immaculately conceived, now effortlessly perceived. Incommunicable language of gentle words. Intimate symphony without sound. Light of love wherein no darkness dwells. Questions no longer, instead a simple basking in the soft new sound of the now that all is, the has been and shall be, were seen for what they are. Then, even as I to you, my Father said to me, I am he whom thou hast asked for, the one you long to see. Thy Father I am is the I that I am, and I show myself to thee face to face, eternally. I knew him too, just as you knew me. My son, I said to the woodman, there is a mountain in my kingdom from which the universe may be surveyed as it really is. I will take you there as my Father has taken me before. From this high place, the gates of the heart are flung open. The scales drop from the eyes. The land is seen in its wholeness. And the questions that were asked before remain silent. Look, even now, it is before you. This instant, it's here. Tell me what you see, dear one. Tell me what you hear. The woodman answered, I see a high mountain with many plateaus, and a great multitude walking up many paths that wind long distances toward the top. On each path a herald is proclaiming his way the only way. And on the many plateaus are many ministers shouting, "Rest here, view this vista, the most beautiful of them all." Yet, there is no happiness there. They curse each other on the different paths and stand on every plateau in condemnation of those above or below. On the higher plateaus, I hear judgments of those whose vision is not as wide. And from the highest plateaus come the sermons of those who decry duality and deny it. In the day they deny, but in the night as I. They still cut wood in their jungle. They still search the crevices for sustenance. They still stagger through their thickets and slash. Tell me, Father, which path must I follow? On which plateau may I rest? My son, I answered the woodman, to climb o'er the ground from plateau to plateau is not the way to go. There is no path on the mountain that leads all the way to the top, nor a single place where a woodman may let go his axe. There is no plateau on any slope where one may stop contending with opposites. For to climb o'er the ground from goal to goal creates the original tunas, a climber and a goal. Then how, counselor, the woodman asked, how can I climb the mountain? How may I reach the throne? Listen softly, I said to the woodman. Listen gently with the heart. There is no way there but to be there. This way soars above the ground, above the landmarks, above the plateaus, swiftly, silently, immediately, on wings of love. This is how I shall take you there, beloved, in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye, on the wings of the morning. Indeed, the way there is to be there. Then need you not at each plateau proclaim it the goal for all, nor whisper longer of those above, or admonish the ones below. You see, love is the key to the mystery. Love is the astrolabe of light. Love alone sounds the melody heard at the immortal height. Love is the wing that lifts thee there, and there hands thee thy scepter. Love has beckoned me, thy comforter, because you and I are one. You and I are love. Immediately the measured moment ended, and we stood atop our timeless mountain. My son, I said, look with me from this high place. With the same eye that beheld the axe, now view the kingdom. Look to the east, the sun is risen. Look to the west, where morning dew glistens. North, south, all you see here, as far as you envision here, is the kingdom I give you today. Now, lift up your eye and see the simple sparrow there, the soaring swallow, the sun, the stars, everything you see there, everything envisioned here is your very own. Now, listen to the sounds, beloved. Whispering wind, laughing children, distant notes proclaiming now your Sabbath. Sounds, too, are my kingdom, dear one, and I give you them all today. Next, with the inner eye, look at everything childlikeness allows. Envision the oceans, the sands, the multitudes, fair fields of fragrant flowers, oaks unsown in future seasons, distant mountains higher yet than this. These too are yours, my son. Yea, all you see here, as far as you envision here, is the kingdom you are this day. Listen. Listen and hear. Even now, you are the only awareness that views this holy place. All you see is the selfhood you be. You are this minute the holy witness of me. You have naught left to do but gird up thy loins and accept thy rightful identity. Now, deck thyself with majesty and excellency. Array thyself with glory and beauty. Thine own right hand, holding truth's scepter, hath saved thee. From this moment forth, view all things from the standpoint of perfection, because thou alone art the king. Dominion is given you this day. Yea, I say, be the single selfhood and reign. Reign, King of all creation. The woodman's eyes had been opened before, but now was opened his heart. From out that place of knowing where is no sediment of stagnation, no darkness of reservation, no blindness of equivocation, came forth the honest sounds spoken only from the pinnacle of the mountain. It is true. It is true. I am the king. I am. the very words I whispered as tinkling cymbals from the slopes, the same sounds I prattled in pious self-righteousness from the plateaus, and droned as far-off dreams along the pathways of desire, but spoken finally from the mountain that childlikeness is. It is so. I am the king. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now it is the eye that seeth thee. O mine being me. This is my kingdom. My kingdom is me. My very self I see. All perfect infinity. Why, I have never seen a sight, nor heard a sound but my own. Yea, the people and things I see are not separate nor apart from me. They appear dimly as an impostor's judgment of the king's infinity. The plateaus and paths below were my woodcutter interpretation of me. The woodcutter's role is but the shadow of me. Oh, at last I see the entire universe has its existence as this awareness I be. Truly, it has been the Father's pleasure to give the kingdom to me. How foolish I've been, writhing in the role of a woodcutter, unaware of identity. I viewed the very self I am and judged it. And I named it, bought it, sold it, fought it, struggled to secure it, bowed down before it and chopped it with an axe, measured it, weighed it, entombed it in time, gave it the life and authority that all the time were mine. The borrowed axe was borrowed from myself. The acres leased were rented from myself. The wood was cut for me alone. Every tree in the forest is mine, and every forest in the land is thine. One awareness, being all I am. Now, I look across the valley and see a tree. It's me, because where do I see it? But in the awareness I be. And how? Seeing is being me. The tree is an attribute of loveliness. Deity knows itself to be. Yea, God awareness is my activity. Faithful witness of harmony. Honest witness of simplicity. Eternal action of deity. Indeed, this now awareness is identity. The impostor's judgment had been the impostor's agony. Woodman, reigning new king, lifts his scepter to speak. I have sought truth all my life, but lo, that I seek, I am. No exterior law roots me evermore to an effete clay. No season binds me any more to await the day when worms deprive me of living beauty. I am the king. I am the law of my holy kingdom. As I decree, so it shall be. Exterior law is annulled. No law exists but God me. Outside is inside. Inside, outside. Above and below, the same. Having been lifted up, I see my images lifted likewise and drawn to me, understood, as I understand God's self to be. The millennium begins as I understand and acknowledge the perfection already round about. From this time forth, dear Father being me, I will reign with justice and dignity. I will speak to myself as the one authority. I will command without congresses or councils, without ministers, magistrates, or armies. To see the world's tribulation cease, I live the child's transcendent peace. It is the counsel of all rightness I listen to. The finished kingdom I see, revealing heaven right here to this awareness being me. Millennium now is my final decree. Epilogue. The story has been told now, listener, yet only one has listened. The picture has been painted, but one alone has seen it. The one who plays the symphony understands its harmony. The one who listens to its melody is the softness of the sound. Indeed, the one who reads this is the one who has written it. For deity, its self-awareness, and all it perceives are one perfect identity. This is your melody, dear woodcutter who is king. Reign with childlikeness. Lift up your heart and sing. Folks, I don't know how I read that. I've never been satisfied with any reading of it. I've read it into tapes many times, into groups and so forth many times, but I've never felt that I could read it as I wanted to. Sometimes the quiet reading of it is better than the one that was impassioned, and I feel that perhaps I just read it with some measure of impassionment. But as far as edifying statements, I would hope that the story clearly depicts the solipsistic, or the all-inclusiveness of a single mind that is the experience of illumination. The day I bent down, I bent a very weary, burdened bill down at a pond, which is just over the hill here from Woodsong. I bent down in total frustration and confusion, bewilderment, and I gave up completely that morning in the spring. And that is when I stood up, and I think stood up conscious for the first time that the universe and all it contains is included within this very awareness, that right here, right now, listen to these words, that this awareness is all and only to each of us. Truly, I looked around and birds were little darts of light, all included within and as the very life that was looking at them. And that is what this story is. The human experience is recognized in the melody of the woodcutter, because the human experience is the birthing of the divine experience. And it was seen then that no part of the human experience was bad. No part of it was really even an illusion. But it was the depict, the awakening of the divine experience that is the God experience. It is not the dissolution of a woodcutter identity so much as the understanding of what the woodcutter identity is. The woodcutter identity is the role, the purposeful, meaningful role we play, believing that life is in matter, believing that trees and mountains and birds and flowers are external, are out there separate and apart. Whereas the kingly identity, the real identity, the only identity all the while is this awareness that right now listens and understands why the woodcutter struggles so, why the woodcutter makes his own anguish and agony, and that all of that anguish and agony is one's own shadow self about the business of making the light plain, clearly discerned and understood beyond intellectualism. Hopefully the melody addresses the grand human problem of which way to go, which path to follow. When there appear to be so many teachers, so many telling us to go this way or that way, so many books in print, so many philosophies, ideology, with the recognition that awareness includes within it the entire scene. Look to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. All these things are yours this day. With that recognition comes the comprehension that all these pathways are included within awareness, like flowers in a garden. And also, all humanity, all the appearance of people, the appearance of multiplicity, are all included within one awareness, this awareness, and that people are not independent actors outside the divine mind, that this awareness is the functioning of. So suddenly I could see that there was no pathway to perfection. Rather, perfection is present now. There is no way there but to be there. To believe I must struggle longer is to leave a struggler and a goal that is outside myself. No way. There is no way there but to be there. With the birth of the melody came the birth of top-down thinking as opposed to bottom-up thinking. The thinking of yore had been that I was one among many, struggling to arrive at a unity concept of singleness, oneness. The top-down view, as depicted in this story, begins with the unity knowledge that is so self-evidently true when we stop just for a moment to recognize the oneness and aloneness and allness of this awareness, outside of which one has never been. So we start with the unity of oneness, the allness, and understand that this awareness is God life happening right now, without wait. So it was said in the melody, there is naught left to do but to gird up thy loins and accept thy rightful identity. Awareness. Am I? Not Bill's awareness, but God's awareness, for which God, isness, is responsible. And finally, with the birth of the melody, came the command so clearly, so precisely, that it couldn't be misunderstood, that I must sing this song, that since mankind is but the tangible appearing of the one infinite life that is identity, that it was incumbent on me to speak to all I could and tell them of their uprightness, to speak to man and tell him of his childlikeness, to speak to myself, appearing as people, of their innocence and purity and all rightness. And that's what this experience of mine has been since that day. Thank you all for listening, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity to sing the song once again.